It's official, Snezhnaya is finally the next destination in Genshin Impact, and it contains a lot of insane changes, one of which includes an entirely new shooter mode, which is kind of wild if you think about it. And in this video, I am quickly going to cover everything you need to know about the 7.0 update, so let's dive into it. Now, the first thing we obviously gotta take a look at would be the new Snezhnaya region. It can be unlocked as soon as you've completed the prologue quest in Mondstadt, so great for newbies or returning players. And in this cold and desolate country, we can do a bunch of new stuff, one of which includes the usage of this gadget called Eye of Graya? I don't know how to pronounce it right now. Anyway, in Snezhnaya, it helps you deal with the cold. So unlike Dragon Spine, where the cold meter immediately starts building up, thanks to this gadget, first the warmth meter decreases, and then once it's empty, then the cold builds up, essentially giving you a much longer duration to explore without needing to find a warm place. On top of that, you can use this gadget to alter the environment of Snezhnaya by using this prime ice resource to build various structures, like a snowball launcher to launch yourself, or even create a heat source to warm yourself up. And interestingly enough, these structures can also appear in other players' worlds, and you can even leave messages. So yeah, anybody who has played Arknight's Enfield or Death Stranding will be familiar with this concept of sharing structures. What's also cool is that you can even use the new Stellar Conduct reaction to power up these structures, and you can also share the reaction itself, well, the starlight prism it creates. Now, when it comes to the new region itself, if you haven't seen any of the teaser trailers before, Snezhnaya heavily relies on its railway system. So you'll be able to use the trains to travel between cities and villages and various other stops, and on top of that, you even get to operate your very own train, where you can also submit daily commissions and also use a crafting bench. Pretty useful. And of course, Snezhnaya contains tons of new areas, all of which we get to explore when the 7.0 update arrives. Although, if you care about cosmetics, be sure to visit this Jack Frost village, because you can redeem this giant popsicle sword skin. Besides that, a couple of new world bosses will be added, the Immortal Construct and Chimeric Winged Lion. Both of them drop new Ascension materials required by the new 7.0 characters. Still, let's not forget the Archon questline. Acts 1 and 2 will be available during this update, and by completing it, you'll obtain Ascension materials for Odette. Otherwise, exploration of Snezhnaya will be similar to Nodcry, since there will be a total of 3 meeting points, one for Odette, another for Alyosha, and then the last one is for Vodyanitsa. Complete these meeting points and another special questline opens up. The devs were kind of holding back the details about it, so we'll have to find out for ourselves. Oh, and there's also going to be some kind of minigame activity to plan Odette's daily life, which allows you to explore her story in different ways. But yeah, those would be the most important exploration features. Next, let me showcase to you Cryo Traveler and the new 7.0 characters, right after this quick message. This video is sponsored by Zenless Zone Zero, and version 3.1, The Long Goodbye, is launching on July 29th with the biggest anniversary reward package the game has ever offered. All players can claim a selectable limited S-rank agent, a selectable S-rank W engine, 20 character pulls, 10 Bangbu pulls, 1,600 polychromes, plus another 160 through pre-registration. You'll also get a free Lucy swimsuit and exclusive anniversary cosmetics, including an outfit, title, and name card. So if you've been waiting for a reason to return or start playing, this is definitely the best time. Version 3.1 also introduces Remiel, the first generation Void Hunter. She's a special anomaly main DPS who fights using a multiform lightsaber and switches between chromatic black and white forms. She looks like a breathtaking angel, drains the color from the world around her, and is also somehow a catastrophically bad artist. The update also brings Arya's return, with Sigrid arriving in the second half, alongside a discounted mixed banner and additional reruns. There's also a major summer event, new swimsuit skins, expanded story and world building, buffs for Jane, Alexandrina, and Nekomiya, plus improved onboarding and new weekly combat content. And a brand new extraction style mode called Enigma of the Labyrinth is also launching alongside this update, and it looks amazing. So download or return to Zenless Zone Zero by using my link in the description, and make sure to claim this gift code shown here for extra rewards. Okay, so we're finally getting the last elemental form for the Traveler, Cryo, and it actually looks pretty dope because Cryo Traveler enables stellar reactions, which means, unlike Nodcry, you don't need a limited 5-star unit to utilize the new reaction. In fact, Cryo Traveler enables Stellar Conduct and Stellar Swirl reactions. And while we already know what Stellar Conduct does, when it comes to Stellar Swirl, it's an enhanced reaction between Cryo and Anemo. When triggered, it deals special damage and summons this Stellar Vortex, which will explode after a brief period of time, dealing cryo damage. However, if you trigger Stellar Swirl multiple times while this vortex is around, it will deal greater damage when it explodes. Still, the devs didn't talk much about Cryo Traveler's actual kit, although they did showcase this really cool sword that you can equip on the Traveler, and it can be further powered up when unlocking statues of the 7. Safe to say, I feel like we're going back to the good old days of Sumeru with Dendro Traveler, since we could build a bunch of strong teams without needing to rely on latest units. Stellar Conduct is already busted even before Snezhnaya, and now with the Cryo Traveler acting as a free-to-play option, plus a bunch of older characters whose kits now have stellar reaction damage built into them, this is gonna be an interesting update cycle. Oh, and yeah, the devs are calling any kind of stellar damage as Stellar Glimmer. So, yeah, we're entering a Stellar Glimmer era, I guess. Anyway, we're also kicking off the 7.0 update with 2 new characters, and starting with Odette, she's a 5-star Cryo Sword unit who specializes in enabling both Stellar Conduct and Stellar Swirl reactions for the team. Her elemental skill summons a solo dance double, which will periodically deal damage, and she can even relocate it. Keep in mind, this skill will either deal Stellar Conduct or Stellar Swirl damage, depending on whether there's Electro or Anemo teammates on the team that help create these reactions. So it's kind of interesting to see how she's similar to Columbina, who also was able to unleash different kinds of lunar reactions. And then we have the Burst. It deals a bunch of damage, buffs her Stellar Glimmer damage for a certain duration, and she also resummons her Dance Double. Overall, she can provide a bunch of off-field damage, and also boosts stellar damage as well. Oh, and apparently at some locations you can do some ballet moves. Now, moving over to Alyosha, he is a 4-star Electro Polearm unit, and this guy is quite amazing because he can apply Hunter's Mark on enemies from the skill and in a few other ways, and after attacking the marked enemy, the entire party's attack stat will be increased. On top of that, if Polestar Field is active, then everyone's Stellar Conduct damage is increased as well. And then when it comes to his burst, he summons his puppy Tugarin, who will deal coordinated damage inside the field, and if it damages marked enemies, the active unit will also receive healing. So all in all, we've got our next attack and Stellar Conduct damage buffer, who also heals and also has a cute hound. Oh, and did I mention we obtained Alyosha for free by just doing Snezhnaya's questline? I don't speak Russian that well as a Lithuanian, but all I can say is "Я люблю Alyosha." Alright, next we have the banner schedule. In Phase 1, Odette and Arlecchino will be the featured 5 stars along with Alyosha, and then in Phase 2, you'll be able to pull for Flins and Ineffa. The banners are quite stacked, but I will be releasing my early access video about Odette and Alyosha pretty soon, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the like button on this video. By the way, we're also getting a new series of forgeable weapons. All you gotta do is visit the local blacksmith in Snezhnaya. Same goes for the battle pass. 5 new weapons will be added to it, but just like with forgeable weapons, the details haven't been disclosed yet officially about this new gear. Although, surprisingly enough, Hoyo actually shared a small bit of information regarding the 2 new artifact sets that are coming with the 7.0 version. The set on the left, called Scarlet Proof, boosts critical rate and damage of Stellar Swirl reaction, so basically a DPS set. And then Heart of the Furnace set boosts attack and the party's Stellar Glimmer damage, which, as a reminder, for now, Stellar Glimmer counts as both Stellar Conduct and Stellar Swirl. In other words, you'll want to give this set to someone who acts as a support for the team, so probably Cryo Traveler and Alyosha will want this new support set. Okay, next, let's go do some shooting. So yeah, we're going Guns Impact with the 7.0 update. Basically, from what I understand, there will be these Shadow Realm stages you can enter with the Traveler around Snezhnaya, and inside it, you get to fight a bunch of Fatuis with a gun. In fact, several different guns, which interact with the elemental reaction system. Initially, there will be 3 different weapon types. There's a Cryo Rifle, which can be used to snipe enemies from far away. Then there's this Electro Rifle, which can lock onto targets. And then finally, we have a Grenade Launcher, which can shoot Pyro, Hydro, and Cryo Granadas, as they say. I also like how we can break the ice beneath the enemies, and they just plunge into the cold depths of hell. Besides that, you can also modify these firearms, which not only change the aesthetics, but also improve their capabilities. Overall, it looks like a pretty decent cover shooter. I mean, it doesn't appear to be as polished as something like Gears of War, but you can slide around, take cover, vault over obstacles, and engage in combat in various ways. The devs also mentioned several times how you can customize the controls, and if you're not a fan of this genre, or just don't want to stress too much, you can enable things like auto-targeting and auto-lock in the settings. I don't know, to me this looks kinda interesting, but we'll have to see how it actually feels once the update arrives. Alright, time to talk about the new event, and the main one of 7.0 will be the Great Expeditionist Challenge. Set in Adventurers Guild headquarters in Snezhnaya, you'll get to participate in 4 different activities. In first one, you become a train driver, tasked with responsibility to survive the harsh weather conditions. Pretty cool. Then in the second activity, you shoot the gun at some target practice dummies. In third activity, you do some platforming puzzles. And last activity is the usual combat event, where you get to become a huge snowball. Do all of these minigames, and your main reward will be a free copy of DIONA, plus a bunch of other resources. Now, moving over to smaller events, first one called Mutual Aid and Bloom. Yet again, you are snowballing around, but this time around you can dress up some statues, which you can later on add to your Serenity pod. Then there's Trial of the Bastion, which is a combination of shooting and tower defense. As you can see, the devs are putting a lot of focus on the shooter mode, so that's pretty interesting. And then finally, they also mentioned Overflowing Abundance is also making a comeback yet again. Besides these events, Genius and Vacation TCG people can expect to see new cards and card back styles, plus 2 new envisaged echoes will be added, one for Child and another for Xiao. Lastly, Stygian Onslaught will receive a new batch of cosmetics for those who manage to clear it at dire difficulty. Not gonna lie, to me personally they look much better than the first series. Anyway, you can check out the whole schedule here, and in a moment, let's talk about some quality of life changes. Okay, so not a lot of quality of life changes were mentioned during the livestream. I even checked HoYoLab, but I didn't find anything else. But yeah, I guess we can start with this journal, which helps keep track of Snezhnaya's exploration, and basically gives you a sense of what's left to complete, plus you get an overview of the whole region's developing story. And as you can see, you can also claim quest rewards here too. Then, when looking at domains, they will be sorted by newest unlocked domain first, so you don't need to scroll all the way down. And then map pins quantity will be increased to 350, always nice to have more. And then finally, saving the best for the last, to Temper Thyself and Journey Far, we'll be receiving a new batch of character constellations you can farm for. Looks like a majority of Fontaine's cast will be added, but there's also Shenyun and Mizuki as well. So overall, this feels like a great addition to the game, especially since Wriothesley and Mizuki can be utilized with the new stellar reactions. So if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments if you want to see a video from me explaining which characters' constellations are the best ones to get right now. Lastly, I guess I can also quickly mention Miliastra stuff. There will be a new 5-star costume banner, but you can also claim some free costumes as well, including this cute spooky boo hat. Otherwise, more assets will be added for craftspeople, and the developers mentioned the shooting gameplay mechanics will be added sometime into the future. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire 7.0 update. It's kinda crazy, but almost 6 years have passed since Genshin's release, and now we're finally entering Snezhnaya. I don't want to get too sappy, but thank you guys for watching me, especially those of you who stuck around since the game's release. And I hope you will enjoy this update. We really need to find out what Tsaritsa is planning. It's about time. Anyway, don't forget I'm releasing early access videos pretty soon, or maybe they're live right now, depending on when you're watching this recap. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, or as Snezhnayans would say, do svidaniya.